2020 was a very strange year for sure. It was the year of COVID, of course, so everybody's working from home. All events are canceled or turned virtual. So, in many respects, 2020 should have been a year where there was decline, where there was failure to be able to attend and things like that, right? But we saw the exact opposite happen with our organization, which was in some ways surprising, but also really exciting. And I think a lot of that had to do with our core team coming together with really talented people, and then also the community coming together to support that.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly did become a lot bigger, both in the opportunities for the community. A lot of people that, started out mid-March with being locked down, being stuck at home. So they're looking for something to occupy their time. So we had that advantage of having a strong community that wanted to build something with Trace Labs, get that up and going. But then we also had a lot of individuals that were coming in looking to be productive with their lockdown time. And we at Trace Labs were able to really take advantage of that. There was a desire to be productive and kind of come out from lockdown better, and we've provided a resource for them.
So I think kind of going back, we start at the beginning, 2019, the way Trace Labs operated is we did a lot of in-person events. So Rob, James, and I, we would travel to a lot of conferences and do a lot of partnered events in person. That was really the way we operated for a while, and we would have maybe a handful of virtual events throughout the year, but nothing significant. And then really moving into 2020, we had all these plans, all these events lined up. I think we were going to do something like 4 events with Sands throughout 2020. We were going to do some other events with some really cool conferences. We were going to go to Vegas for DEF CON, Black Hat. We had all these plans. And then when COVID hit in March, that was all very uncertain. So we really didn't know what was going to happen. We were constantly talking to our event partners, are you guys still planning to move forward? What's going to happen there? And we had to very quickly make some tough decisions on how we were going to move forward with, how we operate.
Our calendar was full with in-person events, and that meant a lot of traveling to meet the demand of those in-person events. I don't think we would have achieved all the things that we were able to achieve and get as good as we did if we had to maintain that travel schedule at the same time. I mean, also the fact that we put together the core team this year, and that was a significant milestone within the Trace Labs organization to grow beyond just, Adrian, Rob, and myself, and start putting together a strong core team that has helped us achieve way more than we would have ever been able to achieve, just the 3 of us. I don't think that would have happened if we were busy running around. So we definitely took advantage of what 2020 gave us.
Well, if you had told me at the start of 2020 that by the end of the year, Trace Labs would have released a podcast, released a whole bunch of educational webinars, created an osint blog, done all this stuff around osint content, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have believed that we would have gotten as far as we would have by the end of this year, but it's exactly what we did. We ramped up on the osint content sharing back to the community towards the end of the year. So we actually had a full website revamp done to start off this whole initiative, just so that we could have a more consumable blog format for our community. And then we started crowdsourcing all these osint content creators out there to start sharing back their knowledge through our blog platform to the community.
I'm very proud of our OSINT VM committee and what they were able to accomplish in partnership with Offensive Security, how we put out a very easy to use, anybody can kind of pick it up and start working with it, OSINT VM. That I'm very, very proud of our OSINT VM committee for being able to achieve that. And I'm just proud of our community, right? Like the amount of events that we were able to put on successfully throughout the year, the amount of missing persons cases we were able to work on and find our successes with. It's just been, if you asked me back in March, the kind of year that we were going to have, I would have never expected us to have these many successes in such a crappy year, for lack of a better word. But I'm just proud of how everybody kind of came together and made this happen. Like I said, the core team has been absolutely phenomenal within Trace Labs, the core team that we were able to put together this year. There's no way that Rob, Adrian, and I would have been able to achieve everything that Trace Labs has achieved this year if it wasn't for our core team. So just really proud of how we all came together and made an active effort to make Trace Labs as good as it was in 2020.
As a volunteer organization, that's really the key thing, right? Is to make sure that we've got the right people. And we definitely do. And this year was an example of that, was to really show that we've got some wonderful people in our organization. And it's amazing. Every time I look in Slack and I see the comments and I see people supporting each other and I see people helping each other, it's a clear indication to me that we're on the right track.
In terms of the growth that we saw in 2020, I mean, from the contestants to the number of judges that we're required to have to accommodate, all of the submissions that we get, all of the volunteers in Slack. There's over 13,000 people in Slack from all walks of life. That's pretty mind-blowing when you think about that number.
What we learned quickly is that when we opened up a virtual event to the world on a more ongoing basis, we had a lot more people wanting to join than we did before. I think before COVID, our highest attendance virtual event was like 200 contestants. But as soon as we opened up the one in April, we actually had close to 600 contestants, I believe. And that was a new record high. We had to source more judges than ever to volunteer and help us out. So that was a little bit of a challenge, just to get probably double the amount of judges that we previously had before. So challenges were really with getting the resourcing of the actual people to help. We also had to scale up our back-end resources for our platform on the cloud front. So did some more engineering work there. So really had to learn how to scale faster.
Basically, you get one opportunity every month to troubleshoot and to solve, because you can do all of the testing that you want, and then come event day, you've got one shot to figure out where the problems are in the system, because you have 1,000 users hitting it all at once. And when that bell rings, it hits the platform like a truck. Like there's no slow ramp up. There's 1,000 people logging in, 1,000 people, submitting intelligence.
Because we have a lot of talent in the community, and we certainly don't want anybody to come away, feeling disheartened from participating in Trace Labs events or helping out. So it was a bit surprising that people could get tense, and it was something that needed some work, and we were able to overcome that. But I think that was one of the biggest focuses, is just making sure that people that walk in, whether they participate in an event or they come and they ask questions, that they leave with a positive experience. And there's certainly a lot of online communities, a lot of security communities that you may come in and feel overwhelmed or feel disheartened or not get your questions answered or called a noob, made fun of. And I wanted to avoid that with Trace Labs. So that was kind of a challenge also, with having so many people come in from so many different angles, and you want to make sure that they have a positive experience there for as many people as you can.
Well, 2021, well, as long as there's no COVID 2021, I think that I'm looking forward to next year, hopefully getting back to normal a little bit. One of the things that I've been really looking forward to over the last year, as we've all been virtual, is to see all the team members of Trace Labs roll into an event and see everybody's faces again, and sit down with them in person and talk about things and participate in an event. I think
for 2021, I would say one of my top goals would be for us all to get together at, like, for example, the DEF CON and have a big Trace Labs meetup at DEF CON. That would be the ultimate. I mean, that would be amazing. But more importantly, like you mentioned, we're not going to forget, what we had to do in this year in order to adapt and to continue to grow Trace Labs as an organization. We want to do more of that in 2021. Of course, we're hoping we can do something in person if possible. But regardless, we're taking our break throughout the holiday season now, but that's only to come back stronger in 2021 and continue to grow.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. I'm here for the year in review. Guys? Anyone there? Oh man. Well, I guess I'll just see you all next year.